at our place of employment, a few of us here, we were audience to what was known as a corporate dialogue. And in that gathering, it is where the boss of the company comes, brings us together, and he talks about the challenges that the company is facing and where he sees the company in the future. If employees came to that gathering and were not allowed to speak out and express their concerns, then it would be a monologue. It would become a conversation, a one-way conversation. It will not be communication. And like this, some of our employees challenge the leader by asking very difficult and sometimes uncomfortable questions. And one of the very important things that occurred on Friday was the leader allowed the questions to be asked. But more than that, when he didn't have the answers, he indicated that. You see, sometimes we need to accept our shortcomings as a human being. Sometimes we think as parents, we should know everything that is best for our children. We may have good intentions for our children, but we always don't know the best for any situation. We should allow members of our families to share their opinion, express their feelings based on what's happening in their life. Allow them to be different. And in our relationships as husband and wife and boyfriend and girlfriend, we should allow the other person to be different and themselves. And like this, the predicament of Sita was her mother-in-law is saying, you should stay. And what made it worse for her was her husband endorsing the comment, endorsing the instruction that I should leave you behind as I go into the forest for 14 years. Please join me. As Sita teaches us, one of the most important ingredients in any relationship, she speaks out, she speaks back, and she engages Rama in conversation. Explains her emotions as being built up so much. She was traumatized emotionally, but she had to find a way to resolve the problem. And what did she do? Tulsidas says, restraining her tears and plucking up the courage, Sita ji touched the feet of her mother-in-law. She touched the feet of her mother-in-law, and with folded hands she spoke like this. Ma, pardon me, Ma. My great Lord has given me such advice that I know it is conducive, it is in my best interest that I should listen to what he is saying. But I have pondered within myself, Ma, and I realize that there is no sorrow in this world so great as the separation from my husband. Look at the strategy, look at the approach that Sita ji used in dealing with the conflict, in the difference of opinion. She first did not respond to Rama because she understood that he was endorsing, he was asking of her to remain behind because he acknowledged he had love and respect and he wanted to honor the request of his mother. And this is why in Sita's response she went to the source and she touched the feet of her mother-in-law saying, Ma, forgive me, for I know what my Lord is saying, He's asking of me might be in my best interest. But she's saying, but inside of me, what you're asking does not feel right. You see, in this showpai and in this discussion this morning, it is not important or as important to discuss the relationship with the mother-in-law or the husband, but to look at the strategy of disagreeing. And one of the things that we should understand, that the most fundamental ingredient in any relationship is what? You've heard this before. It is communication. Very often you hear young boys and girls and even married people say the most important ingredient is love. It's an important ingredient, as a matter of fact. It is the premise. And some people say, well, perhaps it's not love, it's friendship. That's also important. But it's not the most fundamental ingredient in a relationship. The most fundamental ingredient, it is communication.